Welcome everyone, my name is Rigel and today we're gonna take a look at the Eurovision Song Contest 2023 and what we know so far as of September of 2022. Now, of course, usually I would make like a PowerPoint for this and ramble on forever and ever, but for this video I think I want to keep it short, so if you follow my blog, you already noticed that I already posted a blog post about what we know so far about the contest. I will be continuously updating that. However, I won't be updating this video. So I just want to kind of like get this out of the way. And so for the time being, I'm just going to be reading off of Wikipedia and maybe adding a few things here and there. So, without further ado, the Eurovision Song Contest 2023 is the upcoming 67th edition of the Eurovision Song Contest. Now, originally, of course, Ukraine is supposed to host after they had won in May in Turin. However, of course, now we know that the EBU has posted two announcements reaffirming the fact that, unfortunately, the UAPBC, Ukrainian broadcaster, was not able to fulfill the security requirements which were set out by the EBU in their security questionnaire. Therefore, the hosting went to the UK, which, of course, came second place in Turin. So, the UK is hosting Eurovision 2023 for the first time since 1998, and it continues their streak of being the country that has hosted the most Eurovision Song Contests. This one, of course, being the 9th time, the previous 8 times having been 4 times in London, once in Edinburgh, once in Harrogate, once in Brighton, and once in Birmingham in 1998. And this most recent contest was quite interesting as well because of course, Birmingham hosted in 1998 after Katrina and the Waves won in 1997. But if we scroll down here to the short list that we have for Eurovision 2023 host cities, you will find Birmingham there again. However, this time they are not bidding with the venue that they hosted with in 1998. However, but rather they're hosting their bidding, with the Resorts World Arena, which is another big arena in Birmingham. By the way, for Americans, it's pronounced Birmingham. This is not Birmingham, Alabama. So, just kind of keep that in mind. But in addition to Birmingham, we also have Glasgow, Leeds, Liverpool, Manchester, Newcastle, and Sheffield. Now, the odds favorite right now is Glasgow. Glasgow is actually the overwhelming favorite. It was at like 65% when I last checked. And followed by Birmingham, which hosted a very successful Commonwealth Games recently, and then after that, Manchester. Now, my personal preference will be Manchester. I've talked about it a bit on Twitter, but one thing I would say to keep in mind is that a lot of these venue names will be changed if they were selected, because a lot of these are actually sponsor names like OVO, like M&S, like AO, and I think Utilita as well. So yeah, all of these are like sponsored names, so the EBU doesn't really want sponsor names in their arena names. So this was also kind of why Palo Alpitour in Turin was referred to as Palo Olimpico, which was its initial name upon the opening. However, most notably, there were 2 cities that were excluded. The first one being Bristol, which actually made a lot of noise, at least among Bristol natives and among some other Eurofans from the UK that lived in or near Bristol. They were actually going to take a hangar and convert it into an arena, just like Copenhagen did in 2014. However, the hangar right now still remains rather empty, and Perhaps this is why they weren't selected, and I think part of part of the reason I think was just that the EBU and the BBC wanted, ready-made arenas instead of building one on the spot. And another city that was ultimately not shortlisted was London. Now, this means that with the exclusion of London from the shortlist, this means that we won't have a capital city as the host city of Eurovision for the fourth year in a row, I believe. Yes, 2018 was Lisbon, 2019 was Tel Aviv, 2020 and 21 was Rotterdam, 22 was Turin, and now 23 looks to be Glasgow. Like I said earlier, Glasgow is the big favorite. But either way, it's not going to be a capital city, not of the UK, nor of Wales, nor of Scotland, or Northern Ireland. So, yeah, these are the shortlisted cities: Birmingham, Glasgow, Leeds, Liverpool, Manchester, Newcastle, and Sheffield. And the announcement is expected somewhere between late September and early October. So I think you can keep your eyes out for that period. And I think that is indeed when we're going to get it. So let's move on now to production and the format. Even though UAPBC was shut out of being able to host a show by themselves, they will still have an active role in Eurovision 2023, where they will work with the BBC to implement Ukrainian elements for the live shows. And the rules for Eurovision 2023 were also released by the EBU recently, and most controversially, the backing vocals, the pre-recorded backing vocals, will remain as an option for delegations. Now, of course, any delegation can still choose to have live backing singers, as Denmark did in 2021 with Øvers Pohinen. However, there continues to be the option to just have the backing vocals on the backing track rather than having live backing singers. So that's kind of a controversial thing. I don't know how to think about it. There's different ways to look at it. So either way, it's staying, and it remains to be seen whether, once COVID is gone, maybe this will go away. I don't know, but for now, it is here to stay. So with that said, let's get into the countries. These are countries that have officially confirmed their participation for Eurovision 2023. Of course, we have the Big Five countries plus Ukraine, and we also have these countries. Now, I'm not going to read through all of them, mainly because I do a much better job of describing them on my blog post. So again, link in the description. I'm going to, I write about them in much greater detail there than I'm going to do here. So, with that, let's move on. But I will say Ireland just confirmed today. So, and I haven't updated that on the blog yet, so I'll get to that in a bit. But for now, these are the countries that we have for Eurovision 2023, although I'm sure many more countries will confirm, including the likes of Croatia and North Macedonia. However, here with Slovakia, I think there's something to look out for, maybe, because they elected a new director general who was supposed to kind of make a statement on Eurovision participation last month. However, it hasn't happened. However, someone also pointed out to me that his son is an LGBT activist, so maybe that will kind of help towards the cause of Slovakia returning to Eurovision. Maybe it won't, who knows. So yeah, and also Liechtenstein confirmed that they aren't looking for, they aren't seeking to join the EBU anymore. So I think we can pretty much say bye-bye to them for a little bit longer. And with that, let's take a look at Junior Eurovision, which of course is taking place only 3 months now. For 3 months, and as I'm recording this, 6 days to be exact, and it will take place in Yerevan, the capital of Armenia. And also, the 2022 Junior Eurovision Song Contest is going to be the 20th edition of Junior Eurovision. So, I think there's this rumor going around that the EBU wants to get 20 countries for the 20th Eurovision Song Contest, and so far we haven't got that yet. But as far as I understand, the country list, the participant list, looks set to be released this week. Hell, by the time I upload this, we might already have the participant list. But because Armenia won in 2021 in Paris with Kami Kami. This means that, well, this doesn't actually mean it, but in recent years, it has meant that the winning country automatically gets rights to host in the year afterwards. Especially, I think those are starting from 2019, when the winning country of the previous year gets to host the contest next year. So Poland won in 2018, so they hosted in 2019 in Warsaw. And then in 2019, I'm not entirely sure. I think it was. Oh, sorry, no, it was. I got my dates wrong. 2019 was also won by Poland. So they hosted in Warsaw in 2020. In 2019, it was Gliwice. In 2020, they technically hosted in Warsaw, and then France of course won in 2020, so it was hosted in Paris in 2021, and Armenia won in Paris, so now it's going to Yerevan for the first time since 2011, and the venue is incidentally the same place where it was hosted in 2011, which is the Karen Demirchian Sports and Concerts Complex in Yerevan. Now, so far, like I said earlier, we don't have 20 countries yet, but we do have 17, which are Armenia, Albania, Bulgaria, France, Georgia, Ireland, Italy, Kazakhstan, Malta, Netherlands, North Macedonia, Poland, Portugal, Serbia, Spain, Ukraine, and the UK. Now, that last one is interesting. The UK obviously hasn't done Junior Eurovision in ages. The last time, I believe, was 2005, which was it wasn't even done by the BBC, which it is now. It was done by ITV. But this time, the BBC are partnering with their children's TV channel called CBBC, and they are broadcasting it, believe it or not, on BBC One. And they're hosting it. They're not hosting it. They're broadcasting it on BBC One, and Italy is also broadcasting on Rai One. So, I don't know what's up with these big five countries. Why are they suddenly broadcasting these on their big channels? And someone checked, and there are no World Cup matches on the 11th, so people can watch it easily without having some sort of football overlap or anything. But so far we have had 4 confirmed Junior Eurovision representatives, which are Miriam Bigvava for Georgia, David Charlin for Kazakhstan, Laura and Irina for North Macedonia, and Nicolas Alves for Portugal. Now, I talked a little bit more about how they were selected on my blog post, but we do have a few upcoming. For example, Poland. As I record this, their selection show Szansa na Sukces just started yesterday, and for the Netherlands, they are going with the Junior Song Festival, and I think just yesterday they posted the last music video, and Ukraine is also doing some sort of televised selection, apparently this month. However, we haven't got too many details yet. Likewise with Albania, they're doing, I think it's called Junior Fest. And with Malta, we have MJESC, which literally stands for Malta Junior Eurovision Song Contest. The names have all been released, and most of the songs are in English, but there is one Maltese song. So yeah, let's see what happens with these selections. I'm not particularly concerned myself, but now let's look at the countries that have either directly confirmed not to participate or might not participate. For example, Azerbaijan, the feud with Armenia runs kind of deep, and it was being reported that that they might do it, but I think I read a tweet from I think yesterday that the Azerbaijani Eurovision site named 12XAL, 12XAL, said that they had news coming very soon. So let's see what happens there. But yeah, and obviously Russia is out for pretty obvious reasons. And I would also like to point out two countries. The first one is Croatia. Now, there's this fan account going around posting fake stuff about Junior Eurovision and Croatia returning to it. Now, I think Croatia will return to Junior Eurovision, but certainly not with the names that the fan account has mentioned. As the official Croatian Eurovision club has pointed out, they haven't gotten anything from HRT, the Croatian broadcaster. But I do think we will see Croatia in Junior Eurovision because, unlike say Slovenia or other Balkan countries, they've been very quiet about Junior Eurovision. So I think they're coming back, but we'll just have to wait and see. Again, I'm pretty sure we're getting big Junior Eurovision news in this within this week, I think. And the other country I want to talk about is, wait for it, Slovakia. Why do I talk about Slovakia when they have nothing to do with Junior Eurovision? Well, it's because in 2019 and 2021, spokespersons from RTVS, the Slovak broadcaster, actually said that they were considering debuting in Junior Eurovision in those years, but of course it didn't happen. However, the fact that they were considering it while they had a Eurovision hating director general is kind of big, and like I said earlier, they had recently elected a new not Eurovision hating director general. So let's see what happens. I would love to see them do Junior Eurovision, even if they pull a Germany and get last place on debut. But speaking of Germany, this year they're not doing Junior Eurovision because of mainly of travel restrictions. I think they're safety related or something like that. So they're not doing Junior Eurovision in Yerevan. However, they are still broadcasting it, and they said that they hope to return in 2023. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. And yeah, that's just about all I have to say about what we know so far on Eurovision 2023 and Junior Eurovision 2022. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed my commentary or frankly reading of Wikipedia. Check out my blog post, it's in the description. Subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of what we know so far content, and I'll see you next time.